What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. This is going to be the final Smite tier list, low/mid-rank tier list for 2020 and for Season 7. Season 8 will be the next update that does come out. This is going to be for the patch for Danzaburo. Granted, I will not be talking about the new hunter, Danzaburo, in this video because he will not be put into ranked until Season 8, so I will not be talking about him until he's in ranked. So, I'll be talking about all the gods up to Tsukiyomi for this video. I'm gonna kind of just make it quick as well. There's not gonna be like an absolute in-depth like fucking tier list like I did last time. If you guys might miss my last tier list I did about 2 months ago, I'll link that at the end of the video. You guys go check that out. If you guys want me to continue doing these types of videos, leave a like down below. Subscribe if you are new, and share the video. Really helps me out. I'm not going to be talking about too much on screen. If you guys want to know where a certain god goes on screen or whatever, then you can go ahead and look. But most of the time I'm just going to be talking, so if you guys want to tab out and do something else and put me on in the background or just listen to me while you're playing video games or something, I don't know, whatever works. Keep in mind, I only play on console as well. I play on Switch. I've got about 1,700 hours into the game on Switch, so it may be a bit different on PC. From what I've been told, it's not really too much difference. It's just easier to play on PC, so there's not really much else different apart from console and PC. And there's also going to be a mid to low tier ranked tier list, meaning a lot of this stuff is going to be meant for what you play in your games from Bronze 5 all the way up to around about Plat 5, Gold 1, Plat 5, around there. So I'm not going to be talking about Grandmasters games. I'm not going to be talking about Diamond games. Keep in mind that's about the ranked, kind of where I'm going to be talking about in this video. So we're going to hop right into this. I got a lot of shit to go over, so we need to go right into this if I don't want to sit here for a fucking hour. Achilles, A+. I really don't see Achilles as much in my games, honestly. He's a decent jungler currently. Decent solo laner. I just don't see enough people pick him up to really put him at a higher tier. I think there's a lot more stuff you can play over him currently, especially at the lower type tiers, lower mid tiers. Agni, A tier. I think no people. I think the problem with Agni currently is nobody really plays him. He's not really bad. I just don't think he has really a place currently. AMC, gonna put him at B tier. I'm actually going to put him lower. I don't think he's that good. I think he's fucking garbage. I'll put him at C tier. He gets dove way too easy. You pretty much throw like a fucking stick and stone at this guy and he's dead. Anything in the game dives him, he's dead. Especially at lower tiers where you don't have people that know how to position properly or are constantly warding and don't know how to ward. Then you're constantly going to be getting dove the entire game. Then you're going to absolutely do nothing. So if you're getting dove from the beginning of the game all the way to the end of the game, and you do nothing the entire time, then you're not even bother. Why do you even pick AMC for that? For doing that, I don't know. Apuk, A. I think Apuk needs a new, an entire rework. Hopefully, going into Season 8, they give him a rework sometime in 2021, because I think they've buffed him slightly these last couple patches, and the buffs have done absolutely nothing. He just gets dove too easy. The only thing he has is damage. That's the only thing he has. Apart from that, there's every other mage, almost every other mage in the game does his job better. He just has, the only thing he has is damage. That's all he has. Honor, S tier. I think Honor is one of the best hunters ADCs in the game currently. Good peel, great CC immune ult. Just really solid. Decent. I think it's the one thing that he lacks is his early to mid game, but his late game is fucking insane. Amaterasu at lower tiers, I don't think she's that good. I'm going to put her at an A+ or A. I think, plus she got I think she could, the last 3 or 4 patches, she's got some substantial nerfs. I mean, at lower tiers, I don't think she's as good. The only thing that people really do with her at lower tiers is know how to ult with her. Apart from that, I feel like every time I have an on my team, they don't do anything in solo lane or jungle to the point where they're kind of just there, and there's either a free kill for the other team or there's kind of just a body block. Something that just body blocks and does nothing the entire game. Nubis. I'm going to put Nubis at an S. I don't think he's an S worthy. He can be in your very low tier games, like your Bronze 5 games. like, if you know what you're doing, as long as you build anti-heal, if you're playing like a jungle or if you're playing like a carry and you build anti-heal as your second or third item, then you should be fine. As long as you know what you're doing and you can target down the Anubis for your team, you can counter him. But I think the one thing that makes Anubis so good at these lower to mid tiers is that he's pub stomps and people don't build anti-heal. It's going to be the same thing every tier list. I'll put him at an S. I think that's where he is currently. Ao Kuang, B tier, kind of awful. I think the problem with him at lower tiers as well, people don't know how to properly position with him. If you're absolute god like Ao Kuang main, you've got like 10 stars, 10 prestige on him, then by all means play him, but I don't think he's good. The only thing you can play him in is jungle. His auto attack build sucks. Yes, so you have to run ability based, and then you're losing out on a bunch of damage with your attack speed. So I really don't know. I think he's just kind of in a bad spot currently, even with a couple slight buffs. Aphrodite S tier, probably one of the best supports in the game. You do nothing but you just kiss somebody and you stand in lane and you heal them every 5 seconds. You just throw out your birds, and then when somebody gets close to you, you stun them and you damage them. That's all you need to do. She has great self-peel because she can stun anybody that comes close to her. Like, she's really easy to play. If you guys really want to rank up from like lower type ranks, and you're constantly getting support, or if you want to play a support for some reason, then pick Aphrodite. She's one of the easiest to play, most high reward supports that you can get. Apollo B tier. The only thing about Apollo is decent is he has a slight stun in his base kit, and then he can float pretty much anywhere on the map with his ult. Apart from that, he's garbage. Arachne SS. They need to nerf Arachne again. She's pretty much a must ban in like all your games. Like the SS gods are going to be the stuff that needs to be either nerfed going into Season 8 or sometime after the first update of Season 8, or it needs to be banned like all your games in like low to mid tiers of ranked. This is Conquest ranked, by the way. I don't know if I said that or not, but it's Conquest ranked. Ares, like, I feel like every time I have an Ares on my team, all they do is they go in, they catch people chains, and that's all they really do the entire time. Like, he doesn't really do anything for support, and don't even bother playing him in the jungle, because if you do, then you're a fucking thrower. There's just no reason to play him. I actually probably even put him at a C tier. I don't think he's even, like, B tier worthy, honestly. Like, I think the only reason you would play him is if you pair him with, like, something that can combo with your ults, like a Kukulkan, Khan, or, like, something with a huge AoE to the point where if you pull people with chains out from under a tower or into a tower and they can combo with you and get, like, team wipes, then you can get value out of him. Otherwise, I think he's garbage. Artemis B gets dove way too easy. People don't know how to properly play her. They're constantly out of position. Plus, she's one of those gods that you first unlock when you first started playing the game. So, a lot of noobs pick her up and they just get farmed. Artio, I think Artio is solid. I think he's one of the better type of sports currently. She got a recent buff this last patch as well, or the patch we're going to be going into this for this last update of Season 7. She got a slight buff. She still lacks a bit of damage. Like, you shouldn't have to dump your entire kit onto something or into a wave to clear an entire wave. Like, I think she needs some type of damage buffs, like some slight damage buffs to help her clear, and then I think she'll be in a lot better place, but she's getting there to be decent. I think she's solid. Athena, B tier. Like, every time I get an Athena on my team, they don't do anything. They'll warp to you with their ult, and then they'll just stand there and they'll do nothing. Like, she's so easy to counter. People just walk away from her. Either the problem is people at lower to mid tiers don't know how to play her properly, or they just, I don't know, she's just garbage. Maybe she's better in high tiers, I don't know, but I just think Athena's really bad currently. Wheelix, I'm going to put at an A+ tier. I think she's pretty solid. You just have to know what you're doing with her currently. Like, you gotta dive people at the right times. You need to know what you're doing with your positioning. You need to know how to use your ult, otherwise you get no value out of your ult. A little bit more of a team composition type jungler, but she can work by herself. She does farm if she gets like a 1 or 2 level lead early game. Baba Yaga A+. You really don't see Baba Yaga that much, but I think she has like a fuck ton of damage in her late game to the point where I think she is worth picking up in certain situations. I think she's an A+ worthy pick. Just for the amount of damage and the amount of peel she does have, especially if you pick her into a team that doesn't have very much CC. Bacchus, I think, is really solid right now. One of the best supports in the game. Like, he's almost unkillable. They've been buffing him this last couple patches. Like, if you build him like as like a hybrid or even like as a full tank, he's almost unkillable. Like, you can just walk out of fights and people will be throwing their entire kit or just like attacking you the entire time. You still won't die. Like, he's fucking great currently. Bakasura has really fallen off. I don't think he's even worth like a ban anymore. Like, before, like a couple patches ago, you tell me Bakasura and I'd say, oh, he's a must ban. I'm actually gonna put him at an A. I don't think he's that good. I'd actually put him below a Wheelix. I think ability-based junglers are currently a lot better than auto attack, in my honest opinion. I don't think he's worth a ban. If you're banning Bakasura in your ranked games, I don't think he's worth a ban. Even at lower tiers now, like the only thing he really does is he throws out an ult, and that's like if he has like max creatures eaten. So yes, he has to go swallow 6 things before he can even do anything. Otherwise, he's not getting the max damage and the max benefits from his ult. So. And the only thing he really does is late game. His early and mid game is kind of awful currently, especially with a lot of stuff that's being run. Like, I don't think it's worth a ban. I think he's A tier at best. Baron Stom, the A+, really solid support if you build him as a more of a hybrid, and a very solid mid laner. Bastet, I'm not gonna put Bastet there. I need to scroll down. She's going down here, guys. Nope, you're not going A tier. One of the worst junglers in the game. Needs to be reworked again. Like, they reworked Bastet, and then they haven't touched her since. Like, these last couple patches, you think they would buff Bastet again, but she hasn't got anything. Lona, I'm going to put it in S tier, one of the best solo laners. She got a buff this patch as well, to the point where her weapon actually stays active for an extra 3 seconds. So for a total of 6 seconds now, you can have your weapon out before it goes away. Like, if you want a really aggressive solo laner or a really aggressive jungler that just dives on people and shits on ADCs and like auto attack junglers, you pick her into like a really like ADCs that have no mobility or junglers that have no mobility, and you just fucking shit on them the entire game. Kraken, broken. If you want to really, I'd even play Kraken in jungle. He's good in 3 roles currently: jungle, solo, and support. You pick either, like, any of them, and he'll work. You level your stun, you walk up to people, you stun them for about half their health, and then if you have somebody in your lane, if you're playing support, if they follow up, it's a guaranteed kill. If you're playing jungle, you run max damage and maybe a little bit of HP investment, and then you just run at people. He needs to definitely be nerfed going into Season 8. He does way too much fucking damage for a Guardian. Camazotz, B at best. I don't think he really does anything. I think he's one of the worst assassins in the game currently, actually. Actually, I might put him at a C. I don't think he's that good. I think he's garbage. He doesn't do anything. He's bad at solo, he's bad at jungle. CERN, B tier. He doesn't do anything any of the jungles would have, or any other ADCs would do. Cerberus A+, just your typical support. You can play him in solo lane, I guess. Just your typical above average Guardian. Chalk, I'm going to put it in S. I think he's really good in lower tiers, especially with the buffs he's been getting like these last 3 patches. Like, he's been 3 patches now where he's gotten buffs. Like, he's almost unkillable in lane. His laning phase, I think, out of all the solo laners in the game currently, at least at lower to mid tiers, is probably the best laning phase. He's almost unkillable in the early to middle game. In the late game, he's almost unkillable as well. You go in and ult, you do a fuck ton of damage, and then you just dive people. Chang'e A+. Kind of situational, because otherwise if you get dove like the entire game, it kind of depends on who you're going in lane. She has a really good laning phase, depending on who you go against and what your matchup is, but her team fight phase kind of falls off because she's kind of a get in, spam, and then try leaving for about a solid 10 seconds while your abilities are on cooldown type of mage. And if you get dived during that time, then you're kind of fucked. Chernobog, I think, is an S tier. I think he's one of the better ADCs, especially with a global ult. People are constantly fighting. You can fly to fights, and you can turn like a 1v1 into a 2v1 just like that on the snap of a finger, and win your team a 1v1 duel. I think he's really good. Chiron, B tier, garbage. Chronos, I think he's above average. I think Chronos, compared to a lot of the other mages, like ADC mages currently in the game, though. Actually, I'm gonna put him at an A plus or an A. I don't think he's an A plus worthy. Like, I feel like Chronos is currently lacking something that like a lot of the other ADC mages currently have. Like Olorun, Soul are all really good. Freya's still insanely good, and then you have Chronos, which feels as kind of like underwhelming currently. I don't know what it is. I wouldn't say he's bad, but I think he's just like lacking something, like a lot of the other ADC mages have. I don't know. He needs some type of buff going into Season 8. Or for Season 8. Cthulhu's definitely fallen off. He's not one like a fucking ban. I'd say he's A plus worthy. I don't think he's higher than A plus. People know how to play against him. Like, he's been nerfed so much these last couple patches that it's the point where he's almost at the point where he's going to probably be like an A or like a B tier in my honest opinion. He's like on the edge of falling down a tier for me. Like, people know how to play against him. He doesn't, honestly, if you play him like a tank, he doesn't really do that much anymore because people just walk by him and kind of just ignore him the entire time. They'll go and kill your entire team, and then they'll come after you for like the last thing. That's like people have been doing a lot lately. He's not worth a ban anymore. You can pick him up, but I don't think he's as effective as he once was, just because he's been getting nerfed so fucking much. Colin A plus, not gonna talk about him very much. Cupid needs to be fucking nerfed into the ground again. Like, he's fucking broken. No reason the Cupid should be in lane and then go from about being almost dead, throwing out 3 hearts, and then going back to full health at level 3. Like, nerf this fucking guy into the ground so we don't have to deal with him in our ranked games anymore, please. If you guys want an easy fucking ADC hunter to pick up that is fucking brain dead and you don't even need to know how to fucking play him, you just play him and you win games. All you need to do is just throw it out an ult like every 90 seconds or whatever it is on like 1 or 2 people and you just win team fights. He's fucking broken. Nerf him into the ground, please. I'm fucking sick of going against Cupid and seeing him. Dodgy, A plus. You're above average jungler. If you can get the max value out of her, you need to be landing your chains on your totem. If you're not, then you're not getting the max value out of her, but she is really good into teams that don't have much mobility because you can just dive people and they can't do jack shit about it. I want to put Discordia higher, I really do, but I think I'm going to put her in A plus just because I don't see enough people play her. Like, I think she's really underplayed and lower to mid tiers because, I don't know, I really don't know what the reason is. She's not bad at all. I think she's really solid, but people just don't play her enough, so I'm going to put her at A plus. Erlangshek got a little bit of a nerf. Lower to mid tiers, I don't think he's that good because he takes skill to actually make him work. I'll put him at an A. Fafnir, nobody plays him. I rarely ever see a Fafnir, and if I do, they just feed the entire game. B tier. Fenrir S, I think is really solid. One of the better junglers. Like, he got a couple solid buffs, movement speed during his ult, and he got a cooldown reduction on his 3, his Brutalize. Really solid currently. Freya. I'm going to put Freya at an S. I think she's one of the better ADC mages. You just have to make it to level 5. Her early game kind of sucks, but once you reach level 5, you can peel for yourself, and then you're doing enough damage where you just melt anybody that walks up to you. So. Ganesh. A plus, your typical support. Jeb, A tier. Like, the only thing I see Jebs do if they are on my team, they don't do anything the entire game apart from maybe throwing out an ult and giving somebody a shield. That's not enough, in my honest opinion, to warrant being a support. Guan Yu, A plus. Really solid solo laner currently. Really decent amount of sustain in lane. Hachiman, A. No reason to really play him. Hades, SS. Can we please get some Hades nerfs for Season 8? Guy is fucking broken. Like, you play him either mid, you can play him in, like, support. Even I've seen Hades support. You can play him in solo lane. You can play him in mid. Mid is his 100% best role to play, but you can even play him in jungle. The only thing he can't play is ADC, but like, you play Hades in like 4 out of the 5 roles, and you're gonna steamroll games at lower tiers. He is a must-ban, must-pick mid laner or mage. If he somehow gets through the bans, and your first or second pick, you pick them up. If you're playing mid or if you're playing like solo lane, and you just win games. You build Lifesteal, you build Bancrofts, and you build Typhon's Fang as your like third or fourth item, along with boots and whatever else you want to build. And then you just fucking dominate games. You can play him as a hybrid build as well. You can play him as like a bulky support. Like, he does everything super well. And the amount of damage he does and the amount of CC he does and like everything he does, like, is fucking insane. Especially at lower tiers, because people don't know how to fucking deal with it. He just dives shit. He just wins. He wins like the majority of 1v1s in the mid lane. Because you're able to play so fucking aggressive, and you don't get any. There's like no drawback from playing like him super aggressive. Whereas like 90% of the solo or the mid lane matchups, Hades needs a nerf for Season 8. Like, go in the comments down below, hashtag nerf Hades for Season 8, because he's fucking broken. They need to nerf this guy in the fucking round. Don't get me wrong, he's one of my favorite mages to play in the game. He's one of my favorite mages in the game to even as well. Apart from things like Soul and Persephone, but like, come on. I fucking hate playing against him. Like, I'll take a nerf for Hades if it means I don't have to fucking play against him and I actually play different stuff. And I feel like I'm not locked into having to play Hades if I'm a first or second pick mid laner every game. And he's not banned. Abo, A+. I think he would be higher in higher tiers, but I think mid to low tiers, I think he's A+, just because people don't know how to properly play him. You have to play him really aggressive to get the most value out of him, and people just end up feeding their ass off. Hell, I'm going to put in A+. People don't really build anti-heal as much. She has decent pressure. The only thing that holds her back is because she gets dove super easy. Same thing with Heimdall. I think he's an A+ worthy, but he just gets dove super easy. You need to know where you need to put your portals up at. Otherwise, you don't know. Otherwise, you'll just get killed the entire game. Hera S. I should put Hera in SS. I think she's SS worthy. You need to ban her like the majority of your games. Unless you're playing like an ADC mage, or you have like something that can specifically dive her the entire game, like a jungler or a like something that can constantly make sure she's not able to sit back and throw out CC and just drop her ult on people. Like, otherwise she's ban worthy. I think like a majority of their games you're going to be seeing Hera banned. I think she is ban worthy. Like, her Argus needs to be nerfed. Argus has way too much fucking health. Especially if you play her in mid, where you drop them down on like somebody that's level 5. There's no way you're going to be burning through that amount of health. Nerf his early game, her early game Argus health, please. That's what I think she needs. Hercules A+. Horus as a support, I think he's actually really solid right now, S tier. I think he's one of the best supports in the game. The only thing that really sucks about him is his early game. You can't really do anything until you get to like around level 5. Level 6. And his ultimate mainly is mostly useless because people don't know really what it does or know how to properly use it. So you're kind of just a base kit type support, but even then, I think he's really solid. Hoi, A+, not going to talk about it very much. Hunbat's really solid jungler. Especially if you know when to drop your ult, you can pretty much get doubles, triple kills off your ult alone. Isis. Going to put Isis at a D tier, probably one of the worst gods in the game. Never fucking play her. Izanami, I think she's really solid. A+, really good lane clear, really good pressure early game. Giannis B, garbage, gets dove by everything. Jing Wei, I think is S tier, probably one of the best ADCs in the game. Extremely safe. If you're one of those players that just has like struggles with staying alive in lane, and you're more than likely needing to go back to spawn more than the average player, then Jing Wei is really for you because she's extremely safe. And she does not penalize people from having to go back to spawn more than once in like 2 minutes during lane. Like, if I play Jing Wei, I'll be going back to spawn as much as possible because there's just no drawback to going back to spawn, especially even like early to mid game. You just float right back to lane within like 20 seconds anyways. Yorm, B, garbage. Very situational. Kali, put her at an A. I don't think she's that good. I think the only reason you'll even pick up Kali is your very low tier games where you can just farm teams. Apart from that, I don't think she really does that much. Heffrey A+, just your typical support. King Arthur, I think he is really solid right now. You're not going to play him in any other role apart from solo lane, and that's pretty much all you really do with him. You pretty much just, I think his early game kind of sucks, but once you get to level 5, then he kind of starts picking up. He's able to rotate very easily as well. He really, probably one of the better solo laners to use as like a rotation, like early mid rotations. I think he really excels at. He's able to do a lot in rotations early, mid game. Kukulkan S, one of the simplest, easiest mids to play in the game for the amount of value you do get out of him. One of the biggest AoE abilities in the game. Like, he's so easy to play for the amount of value he gets. If you don't know how to fucking play anything, and you want to play mid, just pick up Kukulkan and you'll do good. Kumbhakarna S, one of the best supports in the game with the amount of CC he has and how fucking annoying he is. Kuzenbo A+. Not going to talk about him very much. Low-key S. Ever since he got reworked, he used to be at a D tier, one of the worst assassins / gods in the game. Now he's actually almost borderline fucking broken. For some reason, they keep buffing him as well. I don't know why they keep buffing him. Like, his damage is fucking insane. He's almost unkillable because he's able to build hybrid, and then with not even building full damage, he does, like, insane amounts of damage. Like, anyways, so it doesn't matter. Medusa A+. Mercury, I think Mercury is solid A+. Merlin S, extremely safe. His early game kind of sucks though. He really does not do anything until you get to like level 5. That's its problem. And his early game really sucks. Like, his damage absolutely fucking sucks until you get around about level 10. That's what kind of sucks with Merlin, I think, currently. Like, even if you're building like max damage, like as a mid, his damage is kind of currently. I think that's not really him either. I think it's a lot of the damage items kind of got nerfed or shifted, like the past couple patches. So I think it's not really him. He's kind of just fallen down slightly, a little bit, at least for damage-wise. But I think he's, for the amount of value you get out of him for being extremely safe as well, and just being able to sit under a tower or just shred team fights from the back line, I think he's S tier worthy. Mulan, I'm gonna put it in S. I think at lower to mid tiers, she fucking stomps games. I wouldn't even play her in a solo lane. I think she's probably the only warrior that you'd ever play in the jungle that actually fucking destroys jungle. Like, the best warrior in the game to play jungle is Mulan. If you guys ask me, I have not played Mulan in the jungle for almost 2 months now, and I'm still number 3, I think top 3 on the leaderboard for Mulan, just for playing her in the jungle for a solid 3 months. Towards the beginning of this year, the middle of this year. Over the summer, I think it was. So, probably my favorite warrior in the game still. I fucking love Mulan. Apart from King Arthur, I think her and King Arthur are my top 2 favorite warriors. Neith, just your typical ADC. If you can land your roots and you can land your ult at the proper times, just throw out your ult whenever possible, then you're going to get the max amount of value out of her. Nemesis, SS, probably one of the only junglers in the game, only ADC auto-attack junglers in the game that is worth a ban. Her late game, she fucking walks up to you and she deletes you in about 2 or 3 hits. That's how fucking broken she is. And being at lower to mid tiers, which is what this tier list is for, people don't know how to fucking properly lock her down or react to her to the point where it's either they're already dead before they realize she's like right on top of them killing them, or they don't know what to fucking do and they try running away and she just dives people. Broken, if you're going to be, you either play Nemesis or you ban her in the majority of her games. Naja, like, I feel Naja is kind of really bad currently. Nike, really solid, extremely easy to play for the amount of value you get out of her. She's great in the jungle. You can even play her in support. I would not mind having a Nike as support in most of my games. Good in support, good in solo lane, and good in jungle. He can build hybrid very, very well as well. So if you want to build like more of a hybrid build, she does a decent amount of damage. Overall, really solid. Nox, I'm putting Nox lower. I don't know. She's garbage. Nox is C tier. Even with a slight buff, she needs an entire rework. Nuwa S tier. One of the best mid laners in the game. that isn't ban worthy. She's not ban worthy, guys, but I think she's top tier. She's still available, and you're like first or second pick, I think she's definitely a top tier pick, along with a lot of these other mid laners. Old and A tier. The only reason you're gonna be picking him is for his ult, which is the big cage. Apart from that, what does Odin do? Apart from all the other warriors in the game, he does absolutely nothing. Garbage. He gets pressured out in lane by like 90% of the other warriors, even like a majority of the mages. He doesn't do anything. He's garbage. Ola run. A+. The only problem with him is he gets dove super easy. But if you can play around getting dove and you know how to properly position, then he puts in a lot of work. Osiris has a lot of lane pressure. You can play him in the jungle or in solo lane. I think he's a lot better in solo though. Like the amount of lane pressure he has early to mid game is fucking insane. He's really good in team fights, especially if there's somebody that you can lock down every time. Pele, A+. I feel like she's definitely fallen off a little bit just because auto attack items aren't as good, and that's what she really was building. You can build her ability base, but I don't think she's as good as ability based jungler than she is as an auto attack jungler, in my honest opinion. Still A+ worthy though. I think she's really overall solid. I'll put Persephone at an S. She's not ban worthy, but she's definitely top tier pick worthy. The problem is with Persephone is that she has such a high skill cap. Either you know how to play her or you don't. If you know how to play her, then you pretty much win lane. I think the only things that will win against Persephone in lane is Hades and maybe Poseidon, because he can dodge her plans very easily. Like, apart from that, a lot of this other, like, pretty much almost anything else you play in mid lane gets destroyed by Persephone in her plants. She has the best laning phase out of any mage in the game. At least pressure-wise, apart from Hades. I think her and Hades probably have the two best mid-laning phases in the game currently. So, Poseidon, A+, ult bot, that's all he does. He just throws out ults. That's all he does in the entire game. Actually, probably put him in an A. Like, he doesn't do anything. Like, yeah, his lane pressure is okay, like towards the middle game, but like the only thing you're gonna be picking Poseidon for is throwing out ults. What does Poseidon do apart from throwing out a crack in every minute or so? Ra. Put Ra at an S. Probably one of the best. You can even play him as support. I actually like Ra support. You build him as a support. You build him like a hybrid build with a Lotus Crown and like Rod of Chouati and stuff like that. He puts in work. Support or mid, he has an insanely spammable ult that does like fucking 800 to 900 damage late game before potion pots and red pot. Like, come on, bro. I think he actually needs a nerf going into this next couple. He got a slight nerf this patch with his healing protections being lowered, I think, on its beam. Whatever, he needs some type of nerf. Revert the speed cleanse, please. I was on Raijin. Raijin's fucking C tier garbage. Rama, way better in higher tiers. I think he's a lot worse in lower to mid tiers, in my honest opinion. A tier, in my honest opinion. Ratatoskr, A tier. Every time I have a Ratatoskr on my team, they don't do anything but feed in the majority of the time, and his late game is fucking awful. If you play a Ratatoskr, you need to get the value early to mid game, because his late game is garbage. He's definitely one of those junglers that got reworked, was fucking great, and then he's just fallen off because of item changes, a lot of the other stuff changing. I think he's a victim of the meta. Rana A+, Scylla, S tier, just for the amount of damage and the amount of self-heal you have. You just pretty much lock people down and you just blow them up with your 2 and then you ult them. They're pretty much dead. Especially late game, you're doing about 1,000, like 1,100 damage with your ult in late game. That pretty much destroys any ADC or jungler. One-shots them. Circuit, A tier. Set got a bit of a nerf, but I still think he's broken. Probably a ban in the majority of your games. Probably the only other ADC/hybrid ability type jungler I'd ever play currently. He's probably a ban in the majority of your games. Scotty. I think Scotty's really solid, but I'm going to put her at an A+. Sobek. A+. Soul, I'm gonna put a Soul on an S just because of her early game healing compared to a lot of the other ADC mages. I guess maybe Freya is the only other one. Is really good. She has a lot of self-sustain and a lot of self-peel. Extremely safe. If you want an extremely safe ADC mage, pick up Soul. She's fucking fun to play and she does a lot. I think she's really solid currently. Sun Wukong, I'm putting A+. A lot of people might disagree, but I think higher tiers is a lot better than lower tiers. Only really going to be playing him in solo lane either. Susanoo, A tier, doesn't do anything. Sylvanas, I'm going to put it in A+, but I think if they really want to buff Sylvanas, they need to buff his damage because his damage is fucking garbage. Terra, A tier. Thanatos, I'm going to put it in S. Thanatos farms. I've been playing a fuck ton of Thanatos lately, and he had his farm games. Like, I've had games where I went like 35 and like 5 in like a 30-minute game. He has farms. Morgan, A+ tier, mainly because people don't know how to 100% use her fully, and she's just kind of there. Not bad by any means, just because people don't really know 100% use her. Thor, A+, just your typical jungler. Thoth, A+, mainly because he gets dove way too easy and people can't land his root. Tsukiyomi, SS tier, ban or pick 99% of your games. Broken still. Tier, A tier. Doesn't really do anything a lot of the other solo laners can't do. Uller, A+, just your typical ADC mage, or ADC in general, hunter. Vamana, I'm going to put it in A+. I think he's solid in solo lane mainly, and that's about it. Vulcan, A+, just your typical mid laner. Shibalanke, A+. The only reason you're going to be picking him is just for the raw auto attack damage. That's all you really have a reason to pick him for. Jingten, mainly going to be picking for the knockups and the ult. Apart from that, he doesn't do anything. But if that's what your team needs, then I think Jingten is probably the best thing. Yamoja. I put Yamoja C tier. Garbage. Constantly keep nerfing her for some reason. I don't know why, but she's one of the worst guardians in the game. At least for lower to mid tiers, because she just doesn't do anything. She does healing, and that's about it. Ymir S, I think he's a lot better at lower to mid tiers than higher tiers, just because people don't know how to properly position him. He gets a lot of more value out of that stuff, and people don't know how to properly check him and go against him. Zeus. I put Zeus at a B tier. Just gets dove way too easy by almost anything. The only reason you play him is for the insane amount of damage he does. And then you have Zhonghui, A tier. Does not really do anything in mid. I think if you were to play him, I think he's a lot better solo laner than he is in mid currently. But that is the list, guys. The final list of Season 7. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and share the video. I will be doing one for Season 8. The entire Conquest map will be changing, so it might be a lot later than I do plan on doing one. But hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in a future video. Thanks for stopping by.